And I'm just going to read to you the first few paragraphs of a story reported by a guy called Bill Hickman in Radio New Zealand on their website. And, of course, this gets shared amongst all the other legacy media and run on News Hub and Newsroom because they all just run the same woke stuff. But the headline is Free Speech versus Hate Speech. Victoria University postpones debate after student backlash. Victoria University has postponed a planned debate on freedom of speech after concerns the event could become a platform for hate speech. Last week, the student magazine Salient criticised the lack of diversity of the 5 confirmed panellists. Does the debate have panellists or debaters? Singling out the inclusion of Free Speech Union's Jonathan Ayling as a consistent supporter of harmful rhetoric. Salient sub-editor Henry Broadbent, who I think declined to come on this morning, Ben, wouldn't come on. Henry Broadbent, all worried about free speech, wouldn't come on and talk with us this morning, said the Free Speech Union support of anti-trans activists and the anti-co-governance campaign meant his inclusion compromised the safety of marginalised groups on campus. The speech that the Free Speech Union are looking to defend is consistently speech that fits under the United Nations definition of hate speech. And this is the concern we have with the university. Why is that you feel hate speech is a legitimate discourse that shouldn't be suppressed? He said the presence of Radio New Zealand's Corin Dan as moderator and the Office of the Vice-Chancellor's assurances that statements would be fact-checked during the debate did little to persuade him that holding the event would not compromise the safety and well-being of marginalised groups attending the university. Amazing. Anyway, so the debate has been postponed till a future date, all supposedly because Jonathan Ayling is a serious threat to the fields and the safety of students, marginalised students of Victoria University. This dangerous firebrand joins us by phone right now. Jonathan, can you just give us some background first? It said it was a debate. Who were the 2 teams in the debate and what was the moot going to be?
I wouldn't say that was the only thing wrong with that article, Sean, but no, it wasn't a debate. It was a panel discussion. And look, I was really looking forward to it. This is actually the sort of leadership, initially, at least it was, that we need from our university leaders. This panel discussion emerged after Nick Smith, about 6 weeks ago, at the end of February, wrote an op-ed in the Post talking about the way university... This
is Nick Smith, the Vice-Chancellor of the university, just to clarify.
That's right, excuse me. The Vice-Chancellor of the university wrote an op-ed in the Post. It was a bizarre article, to be honest, and just at a basic level, kind of poorly written. It made me think it looked like it had been written by committee or something. Didn't seem to be just one author. And so the next day, I put an op-ed in response to that, kind of challenging him on the way he had presented the role of the university and freedom of speech and academic freedom within the university. And that had a flow-on effect. And he said, well, let's set up a panel discussion on this. And really, that's exactly what we need. We need university leaders. And Sean, in your intro there, you mentioned AUT, Auckland University, Massey University. These are issues in New Zealand and, of course, overseas that are highly salient, and that word used as a bit of a pun, given it's supposed to be the name of the magazine of Victoria. But look,
who else was on the panel, Jonathan?
A member from overseas at Queensland University of Technology, I think it was, a law professor at Vic, and they were still confirming some other participants as well. Here's my take, Sean. They want to have a diverse panel that presents a variety of perspectives on speech, and I think that is exactly what is needed. I entirely endorse their initiative to set up the panel and have it as diverse. But they're running into the problem that we run into consistently, that if you want a diverse panel, you're going to be trying to include people that do not agree that deliberation and debate are actually what move us forward. So these are the sort of people, and it's the Paul Thistles of the world who were opposing our participation in the panel, that say, if you want to hold this panel, then these are the terms. These are what we're going to talk about. These are what we can't talk about. These are who can be there. These are who can be there. And so what you actually end up is this ultimatum, or they won't participate. And it's kind of a
okay, but they're accusing you of being a hate monger, Jonathan. It's just ridiculous.
I understand that Marcelle Parkinson is on the show shortly after our interview here, Sean. I'm going to give her a little bit of time. Let's do this at the beginning of the interview so she has some time. Find one thing that I've said that could be characterised as hate speech.
Okay, look, Jonathan, you're going to listen to that. You're going to listen to that. I don't like to spring things on people unless I'm ringing Tori Whanau early in the morning. Jonathan, would you just stay available to you? And when I'm interviewing Marcelle, I will ask her at some stage if she will be prepared to have a live discussion with you on air, and we'll ring you back and get you both on air together. Have you got time to do that this morning?
Of course I do, Sean. Nothing would commend her to me as a leader of students than the willingness to engage with people she disagrees with.
All right, mate.
And yet, Sean, I would say she won't be willing to do that. And I'll let your listeners decide.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to get Ben to ring her and say, would she come on early to debate with you? If not, that's fine. We'll deal with this now. Ben's doing that right now. Jonathan, the other thing that struck me here is the headline in Radio New Zealand, student backlash. Has there really been a student backlash against you appealing? It seems to me that one journalist, so-called journalist, student journalist, Harry Broadbent has written something in Salient, and you're telling me that Paul Thistle, who's a kind of very active woke troll guy who runs some sort of grifty charity, that's not a student backlash, that's a couple of trolley stirrers.
Look, Sean, I can't speak to that. I don't. With OIA that information, I'll come back to you on that. It'll be really interesting to see if this is a storm in a teacup and three students threw a paddy and that was that. There may have been more concern within staff as well. I'm not sure. Sean, what is really apparent, though, and this is consistent with my experience as I engage with vice-chancellors quite frequently, with Dawn Freshwater at University of Auckland, with Jan Thomas at Massey, at Cheryl Della Ray down at Canterbury. These vice-chancellors, I think for the most part, as a generalisation, do want to enable debate. They do want to allow individuals to put forward their case and allow a robust exchange of ideas to let the idea float or sink. Yeah. What happens, though, is there's this meddling middle management of DEI hires and comms experts and this middle management that ends up holding our leaders ransom and say, oh no, you can't do that. You can't say that. You can't allow that debate. You can't allow that person on campus. You can't allow the facilities to be used by those people. What will our students think? What will journalists think? How is this going to be presented? It's this very fearful optics-driven perspective that says, but we're going to be lumped in with people who think that Mātauranga Māori isn't science, or we're going to be lumped in with people who think that
it's not science.
Is a biological reality, or any one of the hosts of fraught issues that simply say because you allow the debate, because you allow people to put their perspectives forward, you must be a hateful mongrel.